What's up, everybody? My name is Kepper, and thanks for tuning in. Um, Today, we're going to talk about a subject that I'm sure everyone can relate to, especially anyone that's following this raw food lifestyle. Um, I'm sure you all have your personal stories or testimonies, um, but it's definitely a serious subject matter because on one hand, we all, for those health seekers and those people looking to make positive change and live a higher quality and quantity of life, it comes down to food and how we eat. So, being in the midst of a holiday season, a season that is connected to family, friends, loved ones, and even our closest relationships, um, romantic and otherwise, food is a central piece to all of those things and more. So, yesterday I was in my shop and I was talking to my one of my longtime customers by the name of Freddie, and we were talking about relationships and how essentially being raw foods or high raw food diet, it can be lonely. And I said, yeah, I mean that's pretty much part of it, or it can be part of it. uh, just the things that I've had to do in order to have success on this diet, part of it was to have a business. Now, everyone is not going to open up a raw food restaurant that is a raw foodist. I was lucky and fortunate and blessed enough to be in a position to do that. So, if opening up a raw food restaurant is not an option, or becoming a leader in that regard is not an option, then it's going to be definitely more challenging, to like your relationships and everything. So we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of some of the issues that you may be facing, and then we're going to offer some solutions in terms of being able to overcome those hurdles and those obstacles. Before we get into that, I want to really just mention some of the things that we have coming up. So first and foremost is our 2016 Raw Food Retreat. Do I have a flyer? No, I don't have a flyer handy, but you can go to my website. The Raw Retreat, Negril, Jamaica. This is the third annual retreat that I've done at Jackie's on the Reef in Negril, Jamaica, and spaces are filling up. We've had definitely a handful of commitments. So if you're on the fence, definitely consider joining us. This is one of the things that is necessary, on multiple fronts. Coming to an event like this will definitely inspire you. It will definitely give you the education, give you the know-how, and then also take you out of an environment that may be not as supportive as one where you're actually, at least for an extended weekend, you're able to be in a completely supportive and controlled environment. And sometimes we need that. So yes, we have the retreat, um, and we're now at the end of November, which means that in terms of the annual cycle, we have our winter solstice coming up. So this is a huge or a significant time in the cycle, and I'm going to be doing a separate video in terms of that. I'll let you know what I'm going to be doing and give you some insight and suggestions on what you can do, because what you do at the beginning is going to lay the foundation for your 2016. So we all want to have a fruitful and successful 2016. So it's going to start with the winter solstice. And then last but not least, a new idea that I've come up with is a 30-day raw food challenge. Now, in the past, I've offered 100-day raw food challenges, but this time around, we're going to offer a 30-day raw food challenge, in which you can do on your own. But if you happen to be a DMV or definitely a DC resident and you frequent my shop already, we're going to offer a 30-day raw food service. So the details are coming in the next few weeks. So again, these are support things that are going to allow you to be more successful, not just successful in terms of your own health and vitality, but also just giving you solutions. We're all about health solutions, and providing you solutions that's going to help you not only be successful with your own health, but if you're successful with your own health, you're going to be successful overall. You're going to be successful in your relationships. You're going to be successful in your life. Okay, so raw relationships. Again, me personally, I've been this marks 15 years being a raw foodist. I've been married. I'm on my third marriage, and I now have 3 children. So again, for me, the way I eat and the way the closest people around me eat it is significant. You know, my wives have never been completely raw. Does my diet have an impact on their diet? Of course. So again, you know, being raw, I guess, you know, the attitude I've always taken with the people around me is to try to inspire and to try to encourage and just be that love and support there, not to necessarily create a mandate or ultimatum with the people around me, and that's including also my family and even my children. You know, there's obviously things where I draw the line on as far as my children, but you know, my hope and desire with my children is that, look, this is your life. I made a decision as an adult, you know, when I turned 28 to become a raw foodist. I'm now 43. So 15 years, again, I was not only, you know, a young adult, but I was, you know, well into almost on the verge of becoming 30. So, you know, with children, yes, I want to inspire them, but I want them, you know, with their own young, feeble minds to say, like, look, everything in life is a choice, and I want to empower them with that ability to choose. So again, these are some of the things that I have to deal with, whether it's on a daily or weekly or a continual basis. You know, obviously having a business, that makes it very easy in a lot of regards. And because I've been doing this for a long time, my reputation, people know me and equate me with that lifestyle. However, for most people, especially people who are just starting, maybe they've been raw for a few months, maybe for a few years, or maybe they're just raw curious, you definitely will have some roadblocks, some hurdles that you will have to jump over. And it's not just the hurdle of giving up cooked food, which is monumental in and of itself, but in our relationships. So really what I'm going to do is go through and let you know that the relationship piece is probably the hardest hurdle to jump over. And we'll go through it. So one of the things I talk about is, you know, I've given lectures on this and I talk about this extensively, is the 5 keys to becoming and staying raw. Okay, so we'll just quickly go through the five. One, our relationships. This is the whole subject matter of this video, so we're going to go deeper into that. But it's definitely what I like to call your social network, your peer group, your family, friends, your relationships. That's one key. The next key is the ability to detox. So it's going to be important to make detoxification, and I've given many videos, and my book is all about detoxification. Let me grab a copy of it. So this was a book that I wrote, I published in 2012. It talks about detoxification. Okay, so that's going to be that's a real important key. The next one is the importance of green leafy vegetables, and it's not so much. I mean, eating greens goes without saying. However, we have to relate greens in terms of your addiction to starch. So the thing is that I tell people, especially vegans, who people can often say that they're not necessarily vegan. If we want to be more specific, they're starchitarians, not vegetarians, and they're eating more starches than they are necessarily vegetables. So the thing is that we have to substitute the rice, the beans, and the pastas and the noodles and all these things with salads and green leafy vegetables. The darker the better. So it's one I like to call the sweet green factor. So we have to replace those carbs, those complex carbs with our greens. Okay. Then you have to become the fourth key is to become a chef. You have to, being a raw food chef is really truly being a true chef, because as a raw food chef, what we're doing is, yes, we're mimicking traditional foods, traditional cooked foods, but the primary difference is that we're making them all from scratch. And not only we're not making them all from scratch, it becomes not necessary for you to add excessive heat or to cook or destroy the vital nutrients in that dish. Okay, so to become a true chef is the raw food chef is really the true chef, because again, you're not taking things that are already pre-packaged, pre-made, out of cans or jars or containers, where you're just basically assembling things that have already been overly processed. Okay, so what we're doing, as a raw food chef is, you're really, so it is more work, yes, but it is an investment, and you definitely will benefit in the long run. And then last but not least is education. You have to continuously educate yourself. You have to fulfill that part of your brain in terms of you're going to be faced with cravings, which is more or less what we talked about, the green factor. The green and the detoxification, those are helping you to physically overcome cravings and such. The education is going to assist not only in inspiring you to eat more greens, and to detox on a regular basis, but then to also it'll also help your brain to be strong enough when your liver and your heart and your lungs and all of your internal organs are going to be asking for less than ideal food. So education is necessary. So back to the social aspect, the relationships. Um, again, these are very. This is a. This is this. This can be obviously a blessing or a curse, and for most of us, it's going to be a curse in the sense that because our mass population, this is what we do. In terms of if we step outside, if we go out in public, we live in a cooked world, and most people that you meet, that you can connect with on different levels, most of them are living a certain lifestyle. Even the quote unquote healthy lifestyles are one where it is cool, or it is basically the thing to eat a certain kind of way, and that becomes a central theme for your life. So you change your diet. It's I like to say that it is even stronger. It has a stronger impact than even changing your religion. Your food is your religion because you are what you eat. So, we have peer pressure. Number one, we have our peers, our friends, our family, and loved ones. It can be very, very extremely difficult overcoming peer pressure. We are peer individuals. We do respond and react and look to get affirmations from our siblings, our relationships, our family, etc., etc. We want the blessings from all of those people, whether we want to admit that or not. What is the other thing we have to overcome is traditions. We have traditions that have been passed down, and one of the things that people don't realize is that the way our ancestors ate was more healthy by default because the food that they were getting was higher quality. Okay, there was a time in our very recent history that everything was organic. There was no use of pesticides or herbicides and things because they weren't created. They weren't around. So everything was organic. Yes, they were cooking food and they were eating things that um, that I don't that like for example meat, eggs, and dairy and things like that. These things were healthier, um, and so again, um, traditions are sometimes hard to give up, and that's one of the things that can be very, very, very challenging. And then in terms of relationships, we're getting into how can we talk about relationships and not talk about emotions. How number one, how we emotionally feel for another human being, but then how food is emotional, and we talk about emotional eating. So again, this is all tied into our relationships. When we come together, you come together with family and friends at the table. There's all kind of emotions going on in terms of the connection, the conversation that you're having, and then also the emotion that you're getting from the different food that you're eating. So this is all it's all connected. Uh, so essentially, when we're breaking bread, so to speak, these are a lot of feel good emotions, and it's like, okay, you're not partaking in the common feel good emotions of the people closest to you. could be very, very challenging, very difficult. And then, something that also very, very connected to our emotions is our cravings. So, so the actual physical cravings that we're having, the cravings, I always like to say that each organ has its own intelligence, has its own brain, and that it is communicating, just like our brain is communicates and allows us to do a lot of different things. All of our different major organs have that same ability, which may even be stronger than an actual brain. In fact, it will actually trick the brain into thinking um, that we should eat something versus this, especially like, for example, when we're doing a fast, your brain is going to present different ideas and thoughts that why you should break your fast. So again, this is organ talk, and different organs are associated with different feelings and sensations, and so being able to overcome that is very difficult. And but with proper knowledge and insight and being able to know how to do it correctly can give you more chances of success. But it's definitely connected in terms of our relationships. Again, there's strength in numbers. The more people that are around us doing a certain thing, then the greater chance that we are likely to do it. We have an ability. We all have an ability to influence the next man, and we all have the ability to hold each other accountable. So doing things in groups, doing things, especially your partner, whether it's your spouse or your best friend or your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, these things will allow us to be more successful. Especially, again, this is the holiday season. This is what this time is all about. It's about sharing. It's about connecting with our loved ones, and unfortunately, this is also a time where people do the most damage to themselves in terms of food. Because these are familiar times, they're bringing up all kinds of traditions and emotions, and those traditions and emotions can often be fatal in terms of moving us in a direction towards ill health and disease. So, those are the hurdles that we find when we're dealing with our relationships. And what are some solutions? I touched on some solutions just by going through the 5 keys to being raw, but I want to really touch on the ones that are specific to our relationships. And what are those? First and foremost, education. Our education, we have to continuously educate ourselves. And if it's, if you happen to be married or have a long-time girlfriend, boyfriend, or fiance, they encourage them, or and try to inspire them to be a part of the educational process, whether it's going to a class, whether it's going to a lecture, whether it's listening to something or reading something online. There's lots of resources now that are at your fingertips in terms of education that wasn't available 15 years ago when I decided to embark on this journey. So, so again, the education is first and foremost. That is going to definitely sort of give you the insight, the knowledge, the information. It's going to be key. It definitely make it a foundation. Number two, the second solution is to detox. Again, we're approaching our winter solstice. This is a time where I personally do an extended fast, more than 7 days, and this is the ideal time to do that. and it definitely sets the stage for the upcoming year. And I'm going to be doing a whole separate video talking about the winter solstice in terms of what does it mean for us astrologically, and how that can basically be a launch pad and a foundation piece for 2016. So detox is also going. I talked about cravings and emotions. To be able to detox, and not just detox like just for the winter solstice, but to also set up a detoxification rhythm or system throughout the year that's going to basically allow you to maintain your health. Okay, that's going to help with the cravings and emotions, because we should really be looking ahead to 2016, November and December 2016, the next holiday season, when now you've had a whole year to plan, to work on yourself, to change your diet, and by this time next year, cravings and emotions won't be a part of it, because now you've had 12 months to rewire your cells and then that in a sense rewires or starts to control some of the organs. So therefore, a year from now, your organs are actually craving and desiring, fresh, raw food, nutrition. Okay. The third solution is to connect with new peers. You may have to, your relationship right now may be toxic. Whether it's your spouse, whether it's your fiance, whether it's even your closest loved ones. It may help not to necessarily, sometimes it's necessary to expel certain people out of your life. Most times, fortunately, we can keep most of those people in our lives, but it won't hurt to have new ones, and new people that are going to inspire you, that are going to encourage you, that are going to people you can look up to, that you can learn from, that you can look to in your time of need. Okay, so all of us need that, or it can be very helpful, and it can really mean the difference between success and failure. Okay, so connecting with new people and new peers can be a gateway to a new life. Okay, so someone that you can look to, that can be an inspiration, that can be a mentor, something like that. Okay, it can be very important. Okay, and then last but not least, in terms of solution, is I have to share with you like my personal story, because one of the when I was beginning this raw health journey, in that first year, I found myself in a situation where I believe I ate bread, and I think that was the last time that I ate actual physical I mean, I've eaten raw bread that we make thousands of times, but I'm talking about the traditional bread that we know. And it wasn't even that I was craving it or that I even wanted it, but I was in a social situation, and it was like, well, I can eat this not to draw attention to myself. So again, this was a hurdle. This was an opportunity for me to not do something that I knew that I shouldn't do, but I did it anyway because of the social situation that I was in. I mentioned this story because right after that moment, there was a voice in my head that said, you have to become a leader. And so I say to you, and I end this video with, you have to become a leader. You cannot swim upstream against the current without becoming a leader. And so I encourage you to become a leader in your own right. You don't necessarily have to open a raw food restaurant or a juice bar or anything. It may be you may need to become a coach. You could start a blog. There are lots of different ways where you can exercise that leadership or that leader within you, because it is necessary. It is definitely going to help you overcome some of the other hurdles, because now you've in terms of the accountability and the reputation that you would look to create for yourself, it's going to raise the stakes. It's going to raise the game. So, and it's certainly going to even help in your relationship. So I wish you all the best. Much love, peace, prosperity to you. Again, look out for the Winter Solstice 2015-2016 video coming out very shortly in the next week or two. Again, I hope you enjoy all of your holidays, and especially I wish that you reach all of your health goals. Most importantly, for the upcoming season and year. Thank you again for listening to me, and again, look for everything coming up. Winter Solstice, the 2016 Raw Food Retreat in Agora, Jamaica, and then even doing a, if you're not raw right now, doing a 30-day raw food challenge. All right, peace.